Math 1, Practice 2.2.1, Graphing Inequalities. So, this is our second day dealing with this, and so let's just jump right into it. Okay, remember, first step is to just graph the line. So treat the inequality as if it were not an inequality. So for 1, think of it as y equals 1/2 or 1/5 x plus 1. So, it's in the slope-intercept form. So the y-intercept is right here all by its lonesome. Go to the y-axis, put our first point. Okay, then the slope, that's the one with x. The top one is the y value change, the bottom one is the x value change. So when the y changes by 1, so it goes up by 1, the x changes from 0 to 5. Okay, and if we were to go the opposite way, we could go down to the left 5. Okay, now don't draw the line yet though. Okay, so we've graphed the line. Second step is you see if it's, we call it exclusive, less than or greater than, or inclusive, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. So ours is exclusive, and what that means is if it's less than or greater than, we just do a dashed or dotted line. If it's got the equal to, a line. So in other words, if you see the line below the inequality, you know it's a line. If you don't, it's going to be dashed. So we dash ours. Okay. Then the third step is to shade. Okay, and we use a test point to do that. So we take that test point, we pick any point that's not on the line. So I'm going to pick 0, 0 because that's my favorite. I pick that one unless I can't. And the only time I can't is if my line goes through 0, 0. And then we take it in the inequality and we replace the variables with the variables from our point. So our x is 0, our y is 0. So 0 for y, 0 for x, and then we simplify. And this is why I like x, because, or 0, 0, the origin, because it makes both my variables 0, plus, if I have to multiply by a fraction, timesing by 0 always ends up as 0, so it makes life a lot easier. So 0 plus 1 is 1. Is 0 greater than 1? That's false. Okay? So remember, if it's false, you shade the opposite side. So if the line's here, the point's over here, you shade this side. If it's true, line here, point here, you shade that side. Okay, it's not, so that's not an answer, which means we shade the opposite side. And there we go. That's the basics of it. So that's all we got to do. So let's just keep doing that. So I'll erase this stuff. If you need to, go back to it, copy it down, and let's get trucking. So y-intercept to -2, go down to -2. Slope of -2, so think of it as -2 over 1. So my x goes down, or my y goes down 2 as my x goes right 1. So down 2 to the right 1, down 2 to the right 1. Now that's enough, or I could keep going the opposite way, up 2 to the left 1. If I think of that negative as being with the other piece. Okay, this one has a line underneath it, so it's going to be a solid line. Pick a test point, 0, 0. 0 for y, 0 for x. -2 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 2 is -2. Is 0 greater than or equal to -2? It is, so that's the side I shade. Okay? Alright. Number 3. Y-intercept of +2. On the y-axis, +2. Negative x means it's -1 over 1x. So I go down 1 and to the right 1, or I'd go up and to the left 1. So down 1 to the right 1 are all these guys, or up and to the left. No line underneath there, so I draw the dashes. Pick a test point, 0, 0. 0 for y, -0 for x. -0 is still 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. Is 0 less than 2? It is, so I shade that side of my test point. Alright, number 4. So, -4 is my y-intercept, slope of 2. It's like 2 over 1. So up 2 to the right 1. So there's my next point, then my next, and so on. There's the pattern. Okay, there's no line under there, so I know it's dashed. So I draw my dashed line. Pick my test point 0, 0. 0 for y, 0 for x. 2 times 0 is 0 minus 4. Negative 4. Is 0 less than negative 4? Nope. So I shade the opposite side. Okay. Number 5. Positive 5 for my y-intercept. Slope of negative 2 over 1. Down 2 to the right 1. Down 2 to the right 1. Down 2 to the right 1. And so on. Okay, there's a line under it, so I know it's solid. Pick my point. Then we test it. 0 for y, 0 for x. Negative 2 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 5 is 5. Is 0 greater than or equal to 5? Nope. So I shade the opposite side. Now remember, the reason I put 0 in for y is because this point has a 0. If for y. If I put 0 in for x, it's because that point has a 0. So if I chose a different point, I would treat it the same way. It would be 2 for y, negative 4 for x, and I do it that way. So I get positive 8 plus 5 would be 13, and 2 is not greater than or equal to 13. Alright, so it doesn't, whatever point you pick, you change the x and the y to your x and y for your point. Okay, y-intercept of positive 4, slope of 2 over 1, so up 2 to the right 1, or down 2 to the left 1, down 2 to the left 1. Okay, there's a line, so I draw my line. Then we pick a test point, 0, 0, 0 for y, 0 for x. We get 0 is greater than or equal to 0 plus 4, which would be 0 is greater than or equal to 4, which is not true, so we shade the opposite side. Alright, let's take a look at some more. Alright, so y-intercept of 1, slope of negative 2, down 2 to the right 1. Okay, really I only need 3 points. There's a line under it, so I know it's solid. Okay, check my test point 0, 0, and if that looks too close to you, let's try different. How about negative 2, negative 2? Negative 2 for y, negative 2 for x. 2 times negative 2 is a positive 4, plus 1 is a 5. Is negative 2 greater than or equal to 5? No, it is not. So we shade above. Now 8, it has an x, but it doesn't have a plus number. So think of it as plus 0. So this one goes through the origin. This is really one of the few times when I'm not able to use 0, 0. So we'll have to pick something else. Slope of negative 2, down 2 to the right 1. Or up 2 to the left 1. We have a lot of negative 2 slopes, don't we? Okay, there's no line underneath it, so draw a dashed line. Pick a test point. How about 3, 2? Or 2, 3, I should say. So y is 3, 2 is x, 3 is less than, negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. That is false, so we shade the opposite side. Alright, number 9, y-intercept of negative 5, slope of negative 2. So I could go down 2 to the right 1, or I could go the flip side, up 2 to the left 1. Get enough line underneath it, so I draw my line. Pick my test point 0, 0, 0 for y, 0 for x. We get 0 minus 5, or negative 5. Is 0 less than negative 5? No, it is not, so we shade the opposite side. Now, I could have picked a test point over here, like this, and went negative 3 for y, negative 4 for x. That would have became a positive 8 minus 5 would be 3. I'd have negative 3 is less than 3, which is true, and we would have shaded that same side. So it doesn't matter which one you pick, it'll still work out the same way. Okay, number 10, plus 4 for our y-intercept. Slope of 9 over 4 means we go up 9 to the right 4, or down 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to the left 4. Okay, so it'd be right there, no line, so it's a dotted line. Okay, pick a test point 0, 0. I like zeros on this one because that'll get rid of that stupid fraction. So we don't have to deal with trying to add those together. 0 plus 4 is 4. Is 0 less than 4? It is. So we shade that side. Okay, now two more. Y-intercept of -2. Slope of -3 over 4, so I go down 3 to the right 4, or up 3 to the left 4. No line under it, so it's dotted. Pick my test point 0, 0, 0 for y, 0 for x. That becomes 0 minus 2, so -2. Is 0 less than -2? No, it is not. Shade the opposite side. Okay, 12. Positive 1 for my y-intercept, slope of -3, so down 3 to the right 1, or up 3 to the left 1. Line under it, so it's a solid line. Now that may look like too close of a point for you for the 0, 0. So if we can choose another point, and you can pick any point you want. -1, 1 should be an easy one too. So actually let's do 2, 2. We'll do them both. So if I did -1, -1, we would get positive 3 plus 1 would be 4. So -1 is greater than or equal to 4. That's false. If we pick 2, 2, we'd get 2 is greater than or equal to -6 plus 1, which is -5, which is true. So we shade this side. We do not shade this side. Alright, well, there you guys go.